Hello, I'm Dr. Jeanette Stingone from the Department of Epidemiology at Columbia University. This video is part of our machine learning series to serve as an introduction for public health scientists. What is machine learning? There are a variety of definitions available for machine learning that vary slightly across scientific domain. The definition on this slide is very broad and inclusive and is really fit for purpose for our uses in epidemiology and public health. First proposed by Mooney and Pagevar in their article in the Annual Reviews of Public Health, they refer to machine learning as an umbrella term for techniques that fit models algorithmically by adapting to patterns in data. To clarify this definition, I think it's helpful to think about how we traditionally fit models in epidemiology and public health. Often our models are theory-driven. We have a specific exposure or treatment of interest and a specific health outcome, and the goal of our modeling is to model the relationship between the two. Can we determine if this exposure or treatment is related to this health outcome of interest? As a result, all of the other variables or data that we may have are conceptualized as part of their role in this relationship of interest. So are they confounders, right? Do they confuse our ability to estimate the effect of this exposure or treatment on this specific health outcome? In contrast, machine learning doesn't have to have a specific hypothesis in mind. The goal is to uncover patterns in the data that exist, right? And then can we infer information about relationships across features or with our outcome of interest based on those patterns seen in the data? There are multiple types of machine learning. I'm going to be talking about two that are most prominently used in epidemiology and public health. The first is unsupervised machine learning. In unsupervised machine learning, we don't necessarily have a target variable or an outcome of interest. What we're trying to do is identify patterns within multidimensional data on the exposure or treatment or characteristic side, right? So among our observations, do we see patterns in their data? There are multiple types of unsupervised approaches. They include dimension reduction as well as clustering. On this slide, I just have a quick example of clustering to get a sense of what we're trying to do in some of these unsupervised approaches. So we have a data set with a number of observations, and each observation has a number of variables or features. Our goal in clustering is to not only uncover patterns in the data, but to group individuals by their pattern, okay? So what our output is from a clustering algorithm is that each individual will be assigned to a cluster that represents their pattern in these input features. All of the individuals in cluster 1 should be more similar to each other in terms of their pattern than individuals in other clusters. So we get a sense then of this pattern in these features, and then we can think about what those patterns mean in the context of our substantive knowledge. A second approach is supervised machine learning. In supervised machine learning, we're trying to learn patterns that predict our outcome of interest. So as before, I have observations with a number of features and variables, but now I have a target variable that I'm trying to predict, this outcome of interest. In this example, it's hospitalization, right? What is the pattern of features that best predicts whether someone is hospitalized or not? That would be a question targeted by supervised machine learning. The algorithms learn not just the patterns, but how the patterns predict the target variable in one data set, and then they can use that information to make predictions in a new data set where the values of the target variable are unknown. So you can see these two different types of machine learning serve different purposes, but both are data-driven approaches that use patterns in the data to generate information.